You know when you have this?
Nah, I'm gonna.
No.
Maybe I'll think about it.
You want to be a little bastard?
Yeah.
That's fine. It's whatever. Oh fuck! Let me close the
Oh,
door.
wait, why are we black?
I don't know. Let me see. Let me do that real quick. Slow. I think we're good.
Oh,
Hold on. Let me close the window real quick. Cause I'm hearing all that shit.
Get an ice cream truck in about a minute.
Yep.
What is it, Mr. Frosty?
Yeah.
Mr. No, it is Mr. Frosty,
All
right?
right, guys. It's gonna get hot as ball in 2 minutes. So let's just power through it. All right.
I'm not making it through this shit.
All right. So remember, keep gear away. And 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to AVP. My name is Arturo.
And my name is Vladimir, and we have a special guest today, Mr. Marino. What's going
It's
on,
about
man?
time, boys.
What's up?
It's about time. Yeah, it's been, I feel like every time we have a guest, one of us is always like, it's been a long time coming. We definitely we wanted to bring Alan for several reasons. Alan's a very, very good friend of mine. He is a musician, a artist of sorts.
Educator.
He's an educator. He is a lib cuck.
So before you know what? So before going into this, guys, we want to like cut it real quick and mention something that we forgot to mention last week.
Yes,
which was we were talking very detailed and very passionate about Dominican Republic and what's going on, and we forgot something very important. What is going on currently right now? Up to now, I think it's 9 Americans that have died in the Dominican Republic very recently, which is getting a little weird because we've never seen that, and it's like one after the other that is just coming out right now.
Yeah, so one of the reasons that we had spoken about so in depth about the Dominican Republic, our last episode was because we wanted to touch on obviously all the socioeconomic issues that have been going on there. We obviously wanted to talk about David Ortiz.
Yeah, that's an important one.
He's such a big, part of the Dominican Republic. He's one of the most recognizable people in the country there. But we also really wanted to touch on just the random stuff that's going on. And I would even go as far as to say, I mean, we don't know for sure, but it looks like random acts of violence that have been going on. And we basically just wanted to elaborate a little bit, give our thoughts on it. And with that being said, I'm gonna let Vlad take it from there.
Well, real quick before we even start off, though, I kind of want to like say this joke because I saw it in a video. Yo, Dominicans are like sometimes the funniest freaking dudes ever. So the thing that happened to David Ortiz, right? So when they interview this guy and he's like, even a little kid can recognize David Ortiz. You know how the thing is, like, they don't know if it's actually, like, he wasn't recognized well and he wasn't the intended target. So this guy goes, like, I don't know, because David Ortiz, even a little kid can recognize him. The only reason you can confuse him if it was King Kong was there or if it was David Ortiz, and King Kong doesn't live in DR. And I was I was in the floor. I was like, what did this guy just say? And he said it in the Dominican accent. I was dying.
My best friend is Dominican, and he's literally the funniest kid that I know. So it's funny that you say that.
Yeah, it's like it's just like unintentional comedy. But yeah, right now, as far as we know, going back to the serious part, is a few have died of poisoning.
We think it's poisoning.
Yeah,
it's not like for sure.
Yeah, they have been found dead, and all of them, weird enough, have swollen hearts when they do the autopsy. And also there was a lady that was jumped and almost raped under the bridge in one of the tourist hotels. So it's something like, it's weird because like the number one like the economy of the Dominican Republic depends on tourism. So what's currently going on, it's getting to the point like it could be dangerous to the economy more than it is right now.
Right.
So I have a question. I'm pretty up to speed with it, but are there since they're resort, I wouldn't call them resorts since they're tourist hotels. Are there only Americans dying? Are there anybody
so
else
far?
dying?
Yes. So far, it's only been Americans.
But there's non-Americans in the hotel. Because
Right,
because if there's like I can understand like contaminated water makes sense.
The people that have been dying, they've all died in luxury resorts.
Okay.
Yeah, like the Hard Rock. One?
It's one
not
So
Sorry,
the reason
yeah,
why I
Lime.
say non-luxury is because I was in Haiti like 6 months ago, so I have a skewed like I was in the poorest of the whole island of the whole Espanol, yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's what it was called back in the day.
But I understand that there's a big tourist attraction for Dominican Republic.
Oh yeah, for sure, and like that's where we get a lot of the money from. So like hearing this is like one, it should be like really scary, and I feel like they're like trying to turn the fire down, saying, hey guys, if you like letting them investigate. Like I saw one of the hotels, like we're doing the best that we can. Because they're just trying to put this fire out as quick as possible because they don't know if it's intentional, if it's something that these Americans have been like unfit and they just took the trip without knowing, and then they just die over there because of the change of weather and because I can see that happening. My dad just last year went to Dominican Republic, and from coming from here going over there, like the change of the weather affected him a lot to the point that he almost fainted. So like, but he's used to being in DR though, so like he was fine. But like I'm taking to account being an American who's never been there.
Someone from Maine.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So they never been there, and they're going there for the first time, and they didn't really prepare to the point that hey, you're going to a different country. Different
so it could be
environment.
coincidence.
Yeah, but it's a lot of coincidences.
Yeah, it's a weird coincidence.
So it's a lot of them, which that's why it's the weird part. Like, and it's only Americans. Like, it's nobody else that is dying in these hotels. Because there's a lot of Dominicans that stay in those hotels as well. Like they just go in resorts and just spend the time there.
Yeah, it's like Americans going to Florida.
Yeah, so they're not dying. And it's
you know what? So this was just to build off of that, because this was a rumor that I had heard, and I don't know how substantiated this is. I don't know if this is like if it's been validated. But one of the things that I had heard was that Dominicans, like the people, not like the government, right? But like the people of the Dominican Republic, they're getting really fed up with the type of tourists that are going there. So they're feeling very exploited. They're feeling like you have these like rich people
exploited by the Americans, huh?
But
interesting.
Well, no, but that actually ties into the conversation we were having last time. You have all these companies, you have all these like people that are not Dominican. They're coming into the country, they're taking up all the land, they're taking up all the resources, taking up everything. And you go to these hotels and people are treated like kings and queens.
Yeah.
Right?
And they don't literally care
to you.
I mean,
then you go and you drive around the corner, and people are living in poverty, and because of that, this is a rumor. I don't know if this is something that's been substantiated, but it would make sense to me at least. Like, okay, if this is what's going on, then I think that's like a pretty solid reasoning if that's true.
I mean, it's something that happens in the island a lot. Like Haiti, the only people that live good are the people that are in power. Like the rich people. The rest of the country lives in just incredible poverty. And DR, it's like that, but like just a tiny bit better. Like we can survive a little bit more.
Well, there's no tourists in Haiti too. So
well,
there's
of course.
literally nothing coming in. There's nothing coming, or very, very little.
Right.
But I really quickly, you mentioned like a few have like all the money and all the power. So I was on an island. I'm not an island. I was on a mountain in Haiti in a town called Carrefour. Overlooked the entire town, slums everywhere. So I was halfway up the mountain, but if you look at the tip top, there's a bunch of really nice houses. So it was like, it was very strange. Like just the thought of looking over that, and that's your country, looking all over the slums, and you're stealing from these people.
You see it everywhere.
It was gross.
In Port-au-Prince, like where they
that's where I flew into.
They are just living like kings, while the entire country, like 99% of it, lives in a poverty that it's like not even understand. Like you would think like, listen, there's a lot of faults in the art and a lot of problems. But Haiti is just so beyond,
No, it's of course the Western Hemisphere, and arguably the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they are the poorest country in the entire world. I believe. I'm not sure.
To be honest, I'm not too sure about that. But if they were, I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I think they are. If I'm not wrong. Or
well, I mean, as far as the history of the island in general, I think it's a rather sad history. Between the wars that Haitians and Dominicans have had with each other, then the external wars that they've had with other countries and other nations, it's terrible. Like the things that they go through, the poverty that has been imposed on them, and then like the puppet governments that have been imposed again on them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like unfortunately, I think what's happened to that island, and maybe not so much again to DR, but especially to Haiti, is they've kind of entered this like loop where they just can't get out of it, and it's like you have these people at the top, who are building these hotels, these resorts, and they're treating everybody else really well. They're treating everybody else really great.
The
tourists,
like
the visitors,
foreigners.
Yeah, they're treating them really great, but then you have all these other people who don't have food, they don't have money, they don't have an education, and then they probably see this stuff and they're like, yo, fuck these guys. Like this dude, he's coming here from Maine, right? Can't speak a word of Spanish. He's expecting me to come in and fold his clothes and make his bed and bring him food. And
I mean, that's an idea, but we don't know.
No, yeah, right.
We don't know.
We don't know. But what I'm saying is that if that is true,
mm-hmm.
I would not be surprised because of those things.
Yeah, that is a good point. Also, Haiti is the number 6 poorest country in the world. The poorest country in the world is the Democratic Republic of Congo. That's the poorest country.
So I bet the Western Hemisphere, though, that would be first.
My grandfather is like 46% Congolese.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Fun fact, bro.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Ancestry.
Actually, no, I take the 23andMe.
The same thing.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. But yeah, I take the 23andMe, and I came out, I'm a 10% Nigerian, 34% Native American, but like from South America, and then the rest of it is European, like Spanish European.
I want to do the 23andMe, but it's not just. I don't want to do it for that. I want to do it for the health one, like the health.
That's one I got too. And literally, all my genes are like, you have asthma, and I was like, thanks, bro. Like, I didn't need you to tell me that shit. Like,
yeah, but like that's the only reason I want to do it.
Yeah, dude. Literally, and they tell you like where it developed and like where that gene popped up for you and all that shit.
And why you can
so you can give like a past ancestor a lot of shit.
Oh yeah.
For like.
Oh yeah.
What you have.
Yup.
And what you can die of. Like it's a cool thing to know.
Yeah. You know what's really funny? Because I was like, it goes into a lot of detail about a lot of stuff, and they were talking about like haplogroups, and I'm not gonna get too into it because it's like very, very technical. But like a lot of these like far right organizations, especially like neo-Nazis and shit, they always talk about like haplogrouping and like genotypes and shit. And I was like,
they would never take that test.
Dude, that's exactly what I said. I was like, they could not take that test because they would find out that
they're
were
Jewish.
like,
some will find out they're Jewish.
That's they will fucking kill themselves, bro. Yeah, like they will go crazy.
That shit just made me laugh.
But yeah, before leaving though the subject up, it's a little weird. I mean, we gotta keep paying attention to it. Nothing is cleared out yet.
Yeah, the stories are still developing.
Yeah. So we wanted just to mention it to you guys because we forgot to mention it last episode.
And if anyone who's watching, if you guys happen to know about this stuff, you have more information or whatever the case is, let us know on the live stream. We have it running right here. Yeah. We're watching it. So if you guys have like information, you have a point of view that you guys want to bring out, if we see it, we're gonna mention it. We're gonna talk about it for a little bit. But yeah, like Vlad said, we wanted to at least bring it up. We wanted to get the topic out there because we think it's important. This is also a place where we both come from.
Yeah.
You know, and despite all the terrible shit that's going on right now, it's a beautiful place. And despite all the poverty and the desperation, the people are beautiful people. And you know, the stuff that's going on there is not who those people are. And I think that's really important to remember also. You know, that these people are not defined. I mean, thank you, but no, but I mean, do you disagree? Like,
I don't.
You know,
I lived there for 11 years. I grew up there. That's my homeland. So I completely agree with that.
Completely had no idea.
Yeah. So I was that was my Spanish was my first language. So that's why I suck in this podcast a lot with my English. You know.
We're putting up with him, right, Arturo?
What was that?
We're putting up with him.
Fuck you. But yeah, it's my motherland, and when I see shit like this, I study a lot of the history of the Dominican Republic. I'm not just one of those that just says, yeah, I'm Dominican, and a lot of the kids that I meet here is like, yeah, I'm Dominican, but they don't know nothing, the founding fathers, nothing about the history of the Dominican Republic, not the revolution that happened in Santo Domingo, nothing that happened. You know, like it stuck with Trujillo. So like when I say I'm Dominican,
he's Dominican.
I'm Dominican. So like I know the history, and I care about the country. I care about the land. I care about the history, and also I care about subjects like when people say, you know, the racism happening in Dominican Republic versus Haiti. It's difficult for people outside to understand that when you know the history, when we were actually not in power of the island. It was more Haiti that was in power for 22 years, and we were under their power. So then we had a revolution, which is the Independence Day, February 27th, and we fought for our freedom. We fought for the side of our land, which, you know, a lot of people, you know, then, you know, going to the hey, you're being racist again. It's not that. It's just the first responders that helped Haiti when that earthquake happened was Dominican Republic. The first people that brought them to safety was Dominican Republic. We were the first responders. So it affects me like when they say we're being racist against Haiti because we're just trying to give them passports. We're just trying to make them citizens of the Dominican Republic. But that's a lot of issues that I'm not going to go into it. But, like, again...
Yeah, wait, because we got a little non-sequitur there.
Yeah, but like, that's... I mean,
y'all are passionate about it.
We can have...
respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, we can have more of a talk about that specifically, but we got a guest, and...
Yes, sir.
It's our boy Al's episode, so...
Al's actually rather opinionated. You know, he looks like kind of dumb and shit, but...
I just look dumb. What does that mean?
Nah. I'm just playing. Actually, Al, before we even jump into it, just to give the people a little bit of context, me and Al have known each other for several years, like since high school. Probably one of my oldest friends. The fact that he's on here is great. I'm very, very happy that
you tried to steal my first girlfriend.
I did not.
Oh,
I did
fuck.
Okay.
Wait.
No.
Yeah, we don't have to get into that.
No, I'm kidding.
I mean, now we have to.
Pause and play. I'm the referee here. So, Al, what happened there?
My girlfriend at the time was on the cheerleading team, and so was Arturo. And I would see them talking like in the hallway and shit. To be fair, I'm sure nothing was going on. Of course, I know that I'm playing, but I just say that every time just to like, you know.
Oh, just to fuck with
him. Just to fuck with him. No,
damn, I thought we were gonna get
but he would say, you know, man, Al, you was really cute.
Oh,
she was good looking. She was super good looking.
No, you don't say that to your boys though.
Thank you.
What?
Well, that's a compliment. It was a compliment. It wasn't derogatory.
Bro, like if my boy was dating someone who's like real hit, I'm gonna be like, yo, bro, like.
Oh, you would?
Hell fucking yeah, bro.
You know, I did that once.
We're boys, right?
I don't know if I can do that.
No, you know, I did that.
I'm sorry, Vlad, but I could shit on someone's personality for my boy. Like I'll say like, oh, like this girl is not right for you, but I can't rank on the looks, dude. Like I can't do that.
I agree with that because I did that once, but I was like in 9th grade, and we were boys. I remember, but we haven't talked for a while. But I was like, yo, your girl's a little, and he was like, he got like a little friend. He was like, but I love her, and I'm like, you know what? Never mind. So it was, you know, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't.
You can't do that because like
there's a line, you gotta find it.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
But in all fairness to Al, though, even though I wasn't trying to get into his girlfriend's pants, my cousin was.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, they used to work together. Right? I don't know if you've heard of United Skates, the roller rink.
No.
No. So there's this roller rink out in.
Wait, girlfriend or ex-girlfriend?
It's his
This was
ex-girlfriend.
my first
His
girlfriend in high school when I was like
okay.
16. Like,
But her and my cousin used to work together at this roller rink, and every time he would see her, he would like give me a call or something. He'd be like, "Yo, is Liz still dating Al?" And I'd be like,
You said name.
Yeah, I'd be
Fuck.
like, yeah, bro.
We'll cut it up. Don't worry.
Well, no, we're not saying last names. It's alright. But
it's alright.
there's like 1,000 Liz's. There's like 1,000,000 Liz's. Like it will be good. But people are gonna start like Googling Al and like Facebooking him and like doing like the whole stalker thing.
Okay, Al's Instagram page is at no.
I think I was blowing up, dude, right now.
But yeah, that was a
Yeah.
little intro to the beginning of our friendship. But actually, one of the reasons why I wanted to have Al on here was not to talk about his ex-girlfriend, but
I would hope so. I would hope so.
but actually, so as I was saying, Al is a musician. He's an extremely talented musician. I've gone to go see him play jazz several times, and every time I'm blown away. And I wanted to talk about music. I wanted to talk about music. I wanted to talk about the healing power of music, the therapy of music. I wanted to talk about its history. But before all of that, Al, I guess why don't you just tell us what? So I know that you come from a musical family.
Very. Yeah.
Oh, your family's music?
Very.
Musicians?
Yeah.
Yeah, his mom, she plays piano and sings, and his dad's a guitarist. They play all the time. Very, very talented.
They have a music teaching studio. Well, my grandfather owned a music studio in Mineola, and yeah. So my parents are. It wasn't a surprise that I was going to start piano lessons at 4 or 5 years old. That was one thing that started.
And it's actually one of the things that I wanted to ask. So, were you always I know that your dad's big on jazz, but was jazz always your thing? Did you end up falling onto it? How did that happen? How was the process? How did you end up there?
So specifically jazz? Yeah. Is that what you're asking? Specifically that genre and the.
Well, yeah, I guess yeah.
I guess really my father going to his gigs a lot. In the beginning when I was a kid. When I was 6, 7, 8, I would go, and I really didn't get it at all. I was too young, and older I got, and then combined with my own lessons, me at the time, maybe 11, 12, taking guitar lessons, you start to develop an appreciation for it, like fine wine. The same thing, right? You might not like it, but then you start trying wine, different, Malbec and Merlot, and then you start
you find the
getting
flavors.
appreciation for it. Same thing with jazz, which everyone can do. That's kind of how it blossomed, and then I just got into college, or I was in high school taking lessons and just finding a real deep appreciation, passion for that music, and a lot of and that's
who's your inspiration when it comes to jazz?
Jesus, there's so many. I mean, there's many.
But the main one that's this guy, I always listen to this guy.
There's Wes Montgomery, there's Joe Pass, then those are guitar players. There's also modern guitar players. I listen to Gilad Hexelman is an amazing jazz guitarist. But not only just guitarists. I listen to a lot of piano players and saxophone players. Chick Corea is an amazing pianist. Trumpet. Arturo Sandoval. Is that one you were gonna say? Or because he's cute? Yeah. Okay. Is that what you were gonna say?
No.
Oh, I thought you had someone in mind that you were say this guy.
No.
Say, okay.
I was just saying
No. You guys should check out Arturo Sandoval. He's cute.
I know Arturo Sandoval.
I remember the guy who was huge here in the United States. But I forget his freaking name.
Trumpeter.
Yeah.
Miles Davis.
No.
Did he play trumpet?
I took a class.
Wait, did Miles Davis play trumpet?
Yes.
Oh, that was okay. I didn't.
And he was one of the what we call forefront founding fathers of jazz. bebop and swing what we know today.
Oh, okay. Like, funny enough, though, in college, I listened to, I took a class on introduction to just jazz, which is kind of weird that you're actually, because like I learned, but I forgot about most.
Well,
like,
you know,
but I forget about this freaking guy. His name was.
Is he very well known?
Yes.
Okay, so I could start naming people, but we'll just.
Well, when it comes to you, just interrupt and we'll bring it up. But one thing that I definitely wanted to, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. I mean, so where Al, he's like a really big jazz guitarist, right? I used to play a little bit of guitar myself back in the day. Not the way Al played. We have this running story that we tell. This is actually
Louis Armstrong.
Louis Armstrong. I should have.
Bro, you should have picked that one. Bro, you should have picked that one real quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
But I always, so when I was studying guitar back in the day, for the few years that I did it, I was really big on classical music. I really, really appreciated the classical sound.
Hey.
And
She's saying hey.
Hi, Lily.
Oh, your Alyssa said, well said when you were talking about the Dominican thing, and said, oh, Al, and she rolled her eyes.
You know, I was gonna compliment her on her own podcast. That shit left. Absolutely.
Just let it go.
She was a terrible guest.
Okay, I'm gonna stay out of that one. No, but yeah. So as I was saying, when I played guitar back in the day, I used to really, really be big on like the classical music. I really, really appreciated that. Now, one thing that I've noticed about jazz, I would say it's I feel like classical music and jazz, right, are like the two like main roads, right? But jazz is for
main roads for what?
like musically speaking, right? So like, okay, and maybe I'm not doing a good job of explaining.
I can explain because I think I know what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
So like, jazz and classical are both very damn.
Oh, you fucked this up too.
No. They're both very advanced in terms of musical elements, right? So rhythm,
Yes.
harmony.
But where I feel like
other things, but like they're more they're more advanced as opposed to, let's say, just country or folk or classic rock. There's more it's more complex.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like classical music is more technical, whereas jazz is like where they take all the technical stuff and then they do stunts. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like in classical music, there's not really too much room for like deviation of the music or the song, right? Whereas jazz, you can listen to something like Summertime, and you can listen to Summertime one time and it's like you have like one version, and then you listen to it another time and maybe like they have a different guitarist and that guitarist has a different take on that sound. And that's something that always really, really intrigued me in jazz. And the reason why I bring that up is because what I wanted to ask you was that one of the things that drew you toward that genre of music? Because, I know a lot of people, they play, their parents play jazz, but then they're like, oh, no, but there's something about rock, So was it that freedom that jazz gave you that drew you toward it, or would you say that it was more of like something that it was like a comfortable pair of jeans? Like, you knew your dad played jazz, you knew your mom played jazz.
It was a comfortable pair of jeans, like, in the beginning. That's how I kind of started, right? I mean, like, it's playing around the house constantly. It's playing, I'm going to my father performances, I'm going to other people's performances, my parents, I'm going to, I'm being exposed to this music constantly. So yeah, in the beginning it's definitely like a pair of jeans, but later when I started playing it myself, I would say it's like, I was always really fascinated also by, I could play with somebody who I've never met on the bandstand and we can have a conversation. Like, that's really cool.
Right.
Like, I don't even know this guy's name, maybe not even speak his language, and maybe he's a drummer or something, and we can have a musical conversation, and that's
That's awesome.
Miles Davis coined the term social music. That's what it kind of should be called, not jazz, because social music is definitely more appealing, but it's also makes more sense for sure.
Right. Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I guess.
Well, not more sense, because if we go back to jazz, I mean, we could go back. I don't know if I want to get into just the word, but like.
No,
go
into it. Yeah.
Well,
explain
because
it.
I'm not so totally 100% on like the finding of the word. Right. We go back to like New Orleans. We could talk maybe a little bit about that, but like, social music is a really like powerful.
Do you think jazz is like on a decline? Obviously, like nowadays, as time goes, music, some type of music dies. So do you ever think that jazz would ever disappear in the future, or you think it would always maintain?
It will never go away, and it would only progress. It's not popular, but there's a niche audience for it, and there will always be a niche audience for it. So yeah, it's not popular music, it's not mainstream, but it's absolutely alive and well. But you wouldn't think so. So I don't blame anybody for like, jazz is like, dead. It's really not.
Well,
You just gotta find it, and you gotta know where to look. And there's people that are expanding on this genre to this day. The forefronts of this, the people expanding on what Miles Davis and John Coltrane, Charlie Parker, all these people had done, and taking it to another level.
But doesn't it give you a little fear though of as you see the new generation, the more and more away they go away from like I see it in a way of hip hop. Like hip hop used to be lyricists, like poetics, people that just took that shit serious, and now they putting hip hop under anything now, because now you hear people literally not saying
I'm
no
riding
lyrics.
on a horse.
Yeah. Ridiculous lyrics. Not the rap game is still alive in some other rappers like J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, still alive. But like, doesn't that put a little fear in you that you're in that niche that it might decline a lot in the future to the point that it won't be there?
I don't see that, only because it's not mainstream. I think we have this idea that because it's not mainstream, then it's going to it's going to dwindle. But I mean, ska is not like mainstream, but like there's some killing like ska band. Like when you hear like, a mainstream ska band, right? So I think
Wasn't Red Hot Chili Peppers ska or some shit like that?
I don't really know for sure if they are or not. Maybe they might have some like Scottish song, but I don't know if they classify themselves as ska.
Was Sublime ska? Because ska's weird. Because isn't ska like a blend between like reggae and like
reggae,
punk?
Yeah.
And like
it's
like it's weird. Like I've never. Ska is, again, I think you're right. It's like one of those like really niche like genre types.
To answer Vlad's question, I don't feel that way.
Okay.
Because I'm involved in it so much, and I pay attention to the mainstream of that genre, even though it's not mainstream in the like United States or even the world. But but if you also go overseas, I mean, jazz is very alive and very well. People have a big appreciation, more than the United States for Europe. I mean,
Europe. I know.
Yeah.
But I also think jazz has turned into something. I was doing a little bit of reading on this because I have a really great appreciation for music, although I don't think I have any like music like capability. I love to like really, really like listen to it, and I appreciate the sounds, right?
Music.
But jazz was once something like any type of music was once. It was like rebels.
It was outlaw.
Yeah, it was
totally. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like the type of kids, the type of people that listened to jazz back then, right? They were like the people in the hood. This was like poor people music. This was something that like
the blues.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
Yeah.
right, yeah,
So-
something like that. And now it's turned into almost like you said,
Fancy
like the
music.
fine wine.
Fancy
right?
music,
Yeah, like
for
now you don't go in the hood and no one's listening to Miles Davis or Chick Corea or Tito Puentes, even though that's like Latin jazz. But no one's listening to that now. It's that shitty hip hop that you're talking about. So I guess what I'm trying to say, what I want to bring up by mentioning that stuff is, I think it's very, very, it's amazing the way that the trend, right? How it moves. So there was a time when it was very mainstream.
It was called monkey music too. Like it was very.
That sounds very racist.
Yeah, very racist, right?
Very fucking racist.
Someone said that to Miles Davis on a plane, like a story, like there was some story that he was just denigrated that way. And oh god, it was because it wasn't European classical music. It wasn't Beethoven. It wasn't Mozart. It wasn't elegant music. It sounded, it sounded chaotic. It sounded it was complex, but to them they weren't able to understand that there's been an appreciation since there was, and then it became mainstream, with Louis Armstrong that we were talking about. Like that was the pop culture music of that day, and then Frank Sinatra too, and he's a jazz singer, American songbook singer, but and then but to your point, it's interesting to see that trend. Now it's back to, or not back to, but now it's classified as like elegant music for
Well, feeding off
for the upper class.
I did a paper. It was called "Rich Music for Rich Music for Poor Music for Rich People," something like that.
Right. So feeding off of that point, I feel like that's something that happens always in the world. Like something that it's neglected at first and considered trash, decades later is appreciated to a point that only the few appreciate it.
Well, you can even bring that to the. I mean, not with jazz specifically, but I know that like bachata in DR. That was music that was played in like whorehouses. That was music that was played, in like bars.
And now it's like mainstream.
Yeah, and now it, now it has this audience. It's evolved into something different.
Yeah.
Bachata,
by the way, guys, if you guys don't know, it's
a Dominican folk music.
Dominican folk music. That was original.
Got it.
Just in case, because that's a really foreign thing.
Yeah.
So when it comes to jazz. What are some of the things, like when you're on stage, right? Being in the audience, when I see you play, I'm looking at you and I'm like, holy shit, this guy just like, this is obviously like, this is
obviously says you're a great musician, by the way.
But yeah, when I see you in the audience, when I'm seeing you from the audience, and you're hitting all these notes and stuff. Now, to the untrained ear, to the person who doesn't know, we're probably thinking like, oh, like he's practiced this before, like to do it just like this. When you're on stage, is that something that you do? Like, so are you playing a riff that, like already, like this is the sound, or are you experimenting while you're up there?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
It's a combination of both. It's because I've studied this genre and the players that have come before me, there's a language of jazz that have common rhythmic ideas, common melodic ideas. So, but at the end of the day, I am improvising. I'm improvising based off of the chords of the song, but not even necessarily the chords. We go into, deep philosophical things. What I'm improvising,
Go in, bro.
No, but not to give like a music theory lesson or anything, but like I'm thinking of, I'm playing something, I'm playing something pretty, trying to play something nice, and I'm trying to also interact with the musicians around me. So if the drummer plays something that I like, a rhythm, I may copy that rhythm on my guitar rhythmically, but then like make a harmonic idea with that, whatever he's doing. I'm always trying to include everybody. Maybe the bass player is doing something that I like and I'm responding to that. My ear is so wide open to what's going on around me and I'm responding to that. The saxophone player I was playing, maybe he plays something and I literally just copy him. He plays like, do 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 do, and then I go do 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 do, whatever.
Right.
An example, but yeah. Back to social music.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like you said, it's having that conversation.
It's
right?
totally. But a lot of people, so that in my opinion, like that's what I enjoy. And when I listen to someone, I can listen to someone and it's like, okay, they're not really listening to what's going on around them for the most part. They're just playing for themselves and like just So there's I can. That's not the kind of player that I want to be, and that's not the player that I like. I'm trying to communicate, and then thus that gets translated to the audience, and then they also have energy that you feed off of and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Now, so you play guitar. If you could, let's say, for whatever the reason, you can't play guitar anymore. What would be your next instrument that you would try to go into?
Damn.
Bass.
Oh, I don't know, man. That's a really hard question because I like elements of so many of them. Oh man, I don't know, man. You put me on the spot here. I don't know. I think I'd have to say like maybe drums. Drums would be a really But also like piano. I mean, and because I play piano, but just to get more like involved in piano. But I could also saxophone is really cool too. Like, I don't know, man. That's a hard question. But the guitar is like,
There is something about a guitar, right? My dad used to have this joke. It was really funny. I hope I get it right. I hope I remember it. But it's not really a joke,
bro.
But he would always say, he's like, you have to, when you hold the guitar, you have to hold it like a woman, You have to hold it gently, but when you hit those strings, you gotta really, you gotta flip it.
Oh boy.
Damn, rated G podcast.
I was like, damn, I was like, I guess that makes sense. That was a really, really bad, I didn't say it the way he would say, but
no, you fucked it up.
But that was pretty much like.
I picture your dad's grin though.
But that was pretty much like the gist of it, Like he would always tell me, he's like, when you're playing the guitar, you have to it's like you're making love to a woman. You want to be gentle, but when you hit the note, you have to really hit that note. And there's a certain sound, there's a certain emotion that I think that comes from playing a guitar. I think there is a certain romanticism that follows around that instrument. The way it looks, the way it sounds. Every girl likes it.
Oh, dude, it's the national instrument of Spain.
Yeah,
it is.
Talking about guitars, have you ever heard the musician by the name Facundo Cabral?
No, I haven't.
No.
Oh,
I think I show you. I know I show you.
What's his name?
I show you him, right? Facundo Cabral.
Nah, I can't say that.
He's a philosophical singer from Argentina.
Was he really a singer though, or was it because I know that he did poetry, but he did poetry over.
Well, no, he had albums. He has albums.
No, I know, but it's alright, because so there's I know people, right, that they do poetry over music. They do poetry over music, but they don't really sing or anything. It's more just poetry over a rhythm.
No, he used to do that in live I show you his stuff. Right?
Yeah, you show me.
So he used to do live concerts, and he would if you like socialist music or something you think that you are
socialist music.
He loved to sing about against the what was going on in the world. He is.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. So in live concerts, he would sing, but it would be to that's why he's philosophical in live concerts. But in his albums, he would literally sing. He had such a beautiful voice, and he just knew how to play the guitar.
I remember some of his stuff.
If you just want to listen, if you don't want to listen to the guitar solely, because I don't obviously not gonna understand lyrics, but like it's pretty dope. Like fucking look around, like.
All right, dude, I'm down.
Yeah, he's
Actually, Al has also been to Argentina.
Oh, yeah, I was in Argentina. Like maybe 2-3 years ago. Yeah.
You go. Like I feel like you'll like him.
I've been to Central America and South America more than I've been to like European countries.
Yeah, I feel like
I've never been to Europe. That's like one of my goals.
Yeah, I would like to go to Europe as well.
You never been there?
To Europe? No.
Yeah.
Damn.
Have you been there?
Yeah, I've only been to London.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to go to Spain. I mean, that's where my heritage comes from, so I would like to go there, check it out. You know.
Yeah. Colonizer.
Hey man.
Yeah.
Don't blame me for shit that I wasn't there for.
But I did want to mention, I don't know if you were planning on talking about this, but I did want to talk about like the business and how like awful it is.
Well,
for
no, actually,
so many reasons.
So that's actually what I wanted to go
and
into.
the stereotype of why it sucks and all that.
Yeah, well, so that was something I wanted to lead into. I know we kind of went on a little bit of a tangent,
Yeah.
but go ahead. You know.
Damn. All right. So where do I like
So
start?
start.
No,
wait,
there's
hold
so
on.
many.
So you want to talk about like the stereotyping of people thinking the music business is bad?
Just the business,
Oh,
and it is bad.
In what
many
way?
reasons.
Like
So all right.
like
So I'm gonna if I
throw
can,
the ball, like just a little roll it.
So if I could like find like, or if I can find like the nucleus of it, and then we can like expand from there. So like one reason why it does suck is because the reality is it stems from the reality that you can sound good and be like an amateur, and that's like and you see that, right? And you see that, Arturo, for you, like you can play that one tune, and at the time all the ladies would come to the house and be like, oh my god, you sound so good.
All right. So just to give a little background on that.
Well, really quickly, because I'm gonna keep going, but like no, well actually, shut up. So the idea is you can play a little bit and you can sound good, and there's nothing wrong with that inherently, right? The problem with that is that, though, how that manifests into problems is that, like, okay, let's say you're a dentist, right? And this actually happens, like, this is why it sucks. So if you're a dentist, but, like, you play the guitar on the side, you can sing maybe, like, several Beatles songs, you know, you got a half-decent voice, you can go to an establishment, and then you could say, like, oh, like, you know, you don't have to pay me that much, or you can, you know, maybe, like, some free drinks or like just gas money or whatever. And this is what happens, right? You can see how poisonous that is to the music business, right? Because then someone like me or my peers, musicians, people that actually have studied this, you know, our time, energy, and effort, you know, gets, you know, kind of shunned in a way.
You get like, well, it's funny, like it's very similar to photography.
Yeah.
So like,
sure.
yeah, like I have gone to college.
Anyone with a fancy camera.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I perfected my craft.
Yeah, man, for sure.
Like thousands of photographs, you know, like I perfected my shit.
But that's also art too. So like it's a lot of common. Yeah, there's a lot of common ground there.
So like somebody that just has a nice DSLR Canon camera but just takes nice pictures sometimes will do a wedding for like $200, where I have to charge around.
Because you gotta make a living.
Yeah, $1,200 to $1,300 because hey, it's my profession and my shit. I Photoshop that shit. It's just gonna be professional.
Yeah.
So it's I feel you in that.
So from a business perspective, though, a part of me is like, I can't blame somebody for that, though. Like I can't blame, you know.
Yeah, $200 instead of $1,200.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
But that is like the crux of it. Like that's like the main reason, right? So like people, but to be fair, there are places that do pay well and their success depends on having good music. There are those places. They're few and far between, but they're there, and that's great. I mean, and I've been fortunate to play at places like that, and I'm very respected in that sense. But you know, some place that wants some background music, you know, that, you know, they're gonna go with, you know, somebody that is like a one-man band, or like, you know, he puts tracks on, and then he's like a one like instrument that like, and again, an amateur that just, you know, won't charge, you know, a lot of money, or enough money at least. So it poisons it entirely. So that's like that's the big crux of it. And there's a union, but the union is not geared towards those kind of musicians. It's mostly geared towards like Broadway musicians and people that are in symphony orchestras and stuff.
Well, like guilds, the guilds. That's I don't know. That's sorry. That's
The thing about acting, like the acting guilds and shit.
Yeah, but
Broadway. I think.
and they should have one, and that's good that they do. And there is one, but it's just again not strong. Because like there's no, a plumber, you can't, it's also a license too. Like, there's no license to play music. Like there's no license of, going to an establishment to play music. But like a plumber, just an example, like they have like a union, it's very powerful, they have a rate and,
A person also wouldn't risk it with a shitty plumber.
Exactly, well that's the thing. It's the risk of having it is maybe one bad night, of music, or not even that bad. Like then you tell them to get the fuck out of your place because they're that bad, whatever. But you're right. Like you wouldn't trust average Joe that dabbles in like plumber arts to like do that. Right?
I've turned the faucet on and off before.
You will risk on a Tuesday night like a musician that is just like okay.
Yeah, sure, right.
I think especially if it's like he said, like
but
if
because
it's like background music where they're
you,
not the main.
But like I said, you can be good. You can be okay, and that's the thing. Like you can't be an okay doctor. You can't be. That's also deals with licenses as you're going through school and shit. And
no, of course.
But like
talking about professionals.
But you get professional, but you can't be like a half-ass lawyer. Like I just dabble with lawyer on the side. Like you can't do that, right? But you can with photography. You can with music. There's a lot of things we can think of.
I mean, shit, we started a podcast.
Damn, yeah, professional. Well, like, is podcast a professional?
In general, that's different because
for some people,
profession. I mean,
yeah, but that's different because podcasting, there's not like the way to craft it and is to just do a lot. Like Joe Rogan was like crap before he started,
He didn't dabble in the podcast arts.
Yeah,
he just podcast. He
like,
just started.
There's no real profession in this state, in this genre.
No, I completely understand.
I know what
but it's I mean, that was just like a shitty joke.
But we took Vlad and I just took advantage of your shit.
And
we exposed how shitty it was.
No, but I completely feel you and how you feel about the music and like, hey, I charge this rate because I've been doing this since I was a kid and I'm professional on it. This guy just dabbled on it like 5 years ago and is okay on it, and now he's charging 80% less than me, and that's why you're gonna hire me. And it's the same pain, that people that do photography. Yeah. Somebody in the wedding that doesn't have the budget or doesn't want to spend it. I'll be like, you $200? Yeah, I'll hire you.
Yeah, I know.
And those pictures are okay. Whatever, I'll live with those pictures.
To be fair, I mean, some places get it. Like I said, I mentioned them. Yeah. But like some places understand that, and like that's good. But I think it's also and music is always the first thing to be cut to. I mean, we can talk about that with schools too. I mean, that's another conversation. But no, it's always the first thing to go with the budget with a restaurant or an establishment and stuff. And like, I have a theory. I have like a theory about this, and like, I want to see if it's like, I'm gonna test it with you guys and see if there's any flaws in it.
Yeah.
So like, let's say I charge like $200 for me and like a bass player, so $100 each to play, right? And then like, so that's $200. Like let's say it's like $200 a week, right? And let's say like you accumulate. Okay, well actually let me backtrack a little bit. An establishment can only see what their expenses are, like on paper, right? They can always see that, X amount of money going to the waiters and waitresses for their minimum wage or whatever, and then we got to pay the musicians, we got to pay the cook or whatever. So like they see that on paper, right? They can't see what it's bringing in. It's a vibe more than that. You can't put that on paper, right? If someone stays 2 hours longer and they ordered 3 more rounds because of the music, you can't.
Right. There's no way to quantify that.
There's a vibe, and you can only. Yeah, you're right. There's no particular way to quantify. So, for example, like let's say the music literally made like $400, but like because of the music, people stayed and more people came in or whatever. It might not be that obvious, but maybe that happens. And then so the music maybe made like $400, but you charged $200 for the music. Okay, well you just made $200. but then they cancel the music. So it's like, okay, well that 400 would never happen in the first place.
Yeah.
So again, it's what you can see. They see it on paper. Damn, $200 going out the window. We could put that, towards something else, right? We're making, yeah. So you can't see what's coming in and why, how much of it's coming in, why it's coming in, what's coming in from the music. Granted, if there's like a deal, at a restaurant, and then everyone orders that deal, it's like, okay, well that was positive. We know that was a good thing.
They can measure the net
a little bit better, yeah.
Right.
But with music, you can't really do that, or at least do it all the time well. I mean, granted, yeah, people might be cheering on, might be like a crowd of a lot of people and then they keep ordering drinks and stuff, and then, okay, well, this night was successful because of the music. But a lot of the times, like, it's actually like you're even maybe breaking even, it's just with the ambiance of the group, where you're actually making money, but you can't see it. I've had conversation with restaurant owners and managers and owners, and they get it. It's like but I also think, like, if you need that $200, your business is going under. Like, if you need that money, like that little amount of money of like maybe a big establishment or something, right. Dude. And then usually that's what happens. Usually, like, okay, well, we can't, we're gonna.
They can't keep it up.
They keep it up. Okay, so then we're not gonna have you guys anymore. 3-4 months later, the restaurant's done. Like, something like that.
So what was the theory?
Oh, the theory was just, that's how I feel like that's also kind of another reason why it sucks. Just another thing.
Okay.
Like, the theory is like they can only see what's coming out. They can't for sure know what they're getting
back from it.
Yeah.
Right.
They can't, because even if it's a crappy night,
right.
But the little maybe crappy night that you had was because of the music.
Right.
So,
right. That's true. And I think also it's one of those things where, like, from the business
that in a good
side,
way, not it's crappy because the music
No,
sucks.
right,
It's crappy. The little business that you got was actually because of the music.
Yeah. Right. And I think that it's one of those things that like how we were saying before, it's not necessarily quantifiable, or it's very, very hard to quantify. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that for a lot of like businesses, especially when it comes to like having this like live music thing, they're rolling the dice, because so like in Farmingdale, right, where I live, like right around the corner pretty much, there's this little speakeasy, and
I've played there.
Yeah, he's played there a bunch of times, and they're great, and the ambiance is really cool, but you know what? Speaking about that place specifically, though, they designed that to fit, right? So like having the live music, the jazz, where it is, the style of the place, the way it looks, like it's like a good fit. Like it slips in right in there like a puzzle piece. Whereas I remember like what's that place that you brought me to one time? It was like super fucking sketchy.
Super what?
This really sketchy place.
I
can't remember.
Fatali's Deli Pub. That the diabetes.
Yes.
Doggy bar.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
dude, that was the dog.
Dude, so
that place had a lot of soul, but yeah, you're right. It was
right. And like that's their role in the dice, because like the music they might bring people
that
in.
Specific place, though, to be fair, like they don't give a shit. Like the guy doesn't pay money. Like the guy owns that property. He's just whatever. But yes, generally you're.
Well, yeah. Maybe not that place specifically.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like these businesses and they're doing these things, I think a lot of the time they're like experimenting. Like, okay, like does this work? Does this work? And I think especially when it comes to the live music thing, right? It's not something that a business can just do like one time or two times and be like, oh, it didn't work, right? Because
you're absolutely right. Yeah.
Right. And I think that it's one of those things like you have to like kind of have it for an extended period of time, for like a fixed amount of time, and be like, okay, we're gonna try this from here to here, however many months it is, and we're gonna see how that works, and then we're gonna not do it for this many months, and we're gonna compare like what it was like, and everything for the most part will be the same, whether it be the menu or the ambiance of it, the decoration of the place, like that stuff's not gonna change, right? So,
but even that's still hard to quantify, but it's attempting to. Yeah.
Right, and I think that that's kind of like the sad thing with live music, and it's one of the reasons why I'm like so against the whole like like you know, like the whole big thing now is like DJs. All they gotta do is like hit the button, and then they're like, doom, doom, doom.
Well, that's
yeah, and it's
well,
like
that's a different thing.
you know,
That's like a vibe.
No, right, of course. But one of the reasons, like the reason why I bring it up is because a lot of places, like if you go to the Nautical Mile in Freeport, right?